it was just a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
When I first arrived in the hospital, and
We were like,
on the way there, like all those cables along the streets, like, you know, our telephone cables.
they're all underground.
Well, they were like about that many thousand million cables lining the streets, and I could just imagine fire after fire and people on those bikes and cars and everything.
Oh yeah,
it was
we were all
just
screaming on the
absolute-
bus.
And the posters.
The first trip down to the hospital, it's just row upon row upon row of mopeds. And we were on the bus and we were all screaming because we thought they're going to hit, you know, we're going to hit them. But they managed to get out the way. That was unbelievable, wasn't it? There was about 10 lanes of mopeds. And you had to just walk because if you stood and waited, you'd be there all day.
But I mean, when you get to the hospital, my first impressions when I got to the hospital was, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming here to do joint surgery. Now, in this country, everything about joint surgery is cleanliness. You know, we work under a clean air, and you know, everything's clean and tidy and you know, sterile. I got to the hospital, I thought, God, you know, all these. We're going to be putting joints in these people. It was a building site. There was scaffolding, there were open
piles
brickwork.
of rubble.
Patients lying on the floor that had got fixators on their legs because there wasn't enough beds, and I was quite horrified to start with, until we actually saw the theatres, and I just relaxed because
It was immaculate.
you set foot into their theatre block, and they had this regime where, you know, you took your shoes off and you put your clean shoes on for theatres, and everything just seemed to fit into place, like they knew exactly what they were doing and how they were going to do it. And as Chandra said, our theatre was the only theatre that got air conditioning. Luckily, it was assigned to us for that period of time. And yeah, it did break down a couple of times, but on the whole, it was just amazing, really.
They had many colleagues there who worked there themselves, who knew the routine, and they just wanted to get involved with it, and Dr. Freeman allowed them to get involved, which made life a lot easier because they knew all their equipment, where things were, so we had no problems on that side. Going there, we did take a lot of stuff, our own, that we use here, and we weren't sure what they had there, we didn't know what to expect. We had Datex and Media, we had one of their monitors, we took that with us because we weren't sure what to expect. But when we got there, they had an operating table which was next to nothing. It was superb. Our gadgets, all our posts and supports fitted that table, so we were quite happy with that. They had anaesthetics machines, were up to standard. Again, we were quite surprised, but they were all working. And the people there just couldn't do enough and couldn't get involved enough with the whole procedure. They were just amazing people who just got in there, got stuck on with it. Again, the language barrier between us and them, but we all managed to get on with each other, and everybody just adapted, and the teamwork was just superb. Couldn't fault it.
So everyone was really accommodating.
They couldn't accommodate in it. Yeah, it was just beyond that. It was just their whole support and their commitment to it, and support we had, they had. It was just phenomenal. It was just amazing.
It was a big culture shock to see how poor the hospital was, and we did get to experience going and seeing the patients once we'd done all the procedures, and to see the gratefulness, that was just unbelievable. They were just so grateful that we'd been over there and done this for them, and that was very, very profound.
And then, like I said, the patients, I did get to see some of the patients afterwards and that, and to see the response on their faces and their families and their cousins and relatives. Everybody was there to see the end results, and the expressions they all gave and the joys and hugs were just mind-blowing, basically.
Thank you.